value. If you put £1 billion on the FA Cup, all of a sudden the FA Cup would become an incredibly important competition. And that's the reality of it here. We're talking about a money-driven game whereby some things have slipped.
And if people haven't seen this news, as soon as the first lineups drop, the Man Cities and the Chelseas and the Real Madrids and those lineups, and they see who's playing, oh, this isn't just some, weak summer tournament.
We'll get back to Gary in just a quick second, but remember, if you like this video, please like, share and subscribe. And don't forget to click the notification button so that you know when the next Big D video hits. And as ever, if you've got something on your mind that you want to express, please put it in the comments. The Big D reads all of the comments and he always enjoys reading what is on your mind. Anyway, in this little snippet, it's from the Overlap USA, and Gary is going to be talking about the brand new inaugural FIFA Club World Cup tournament, summer tournament, that has now got £1 billion prize money, or is it $1 billion? Either way, it's a lot of money. And he's going to be talking about, well, you would think he's talking about the cons of the tournament, but the Big D doesn't necessarily like where Gary's going with his thoughts on the Club World Cup tournament. But anyway, I'll let Gary talk first and then stick around for after the clip, and the Big D will explain why he disagrees. Here's Gary.
Don't know if you saw this week, Club World Cup, that's obviously going to be in the United States this coming summer. Lots of controversy, didn't have a TV broadcaster, now it does. Lots of, I think it's 32 teams, lots of kind of like, what are we doing? Far too much football. Well, how the world changed when we throw in $1 billion as the prize money, which, by the way, means that the winner will take home around 100 million for playing 7 games, and that is the equivalent, Gary, of winning the Champions League. That changes everything, doesn't it?
Unfortunately, yes, in the sense that all these clubs in England and around Europe have got PSR issues, and to be honest with you, the idea of too much football, too many games, players being run into the ground, all fair points. However, when you throw £1 billion in and you give clubs the opportunity to earn £100 million for a month's football, when, if you think about it, that takes you a season's football in the Premier League, and in Spain and Italy and others, you probably don't even get that money. So it's an unbelievable opportunity, and for clubs from other parts of the world that are obviously even worse off than in Europe, then it's an incredible proposition. And I think that what Infantino has done, he's taken a tournament that there's not a lot of appetite for it in this country. There's not a lot of appetite for it from the clubs even, I don't think. All of a sudden he puts this sort of price ticket on it, and with the current plight of the clubs around PSR and what's happening in the game, rising costs, it's going to actually, I think, underpin the success of this tournament, and I think it will mean it's very competitive because there's a big prize at stake, and that's sad, and that's why we talk about the FA Cup every year. We talk about other competitions losing their value. If you put £1 billion on the FA Cup, all of a sudden the FA Cup would become an incredibly important competition, and that's the reality of it here. We're talking about a money-driven game whereby some things have slipped.
And if people haven't seen this news, as soon as the first lineups drop, the Man Cities and the Chelseas and the Real Madrids and those lineups, and they see who's playing, oh, this isn't just some, weak summer tournament. Gianni Infantino, one of your faves.
A few things I want to address on this FIFA Club World Cup tournament. I don't like Gary Neville's attitude towards this tournament, to be quite frank, because he alluded to another tournament that players are ran into the ground, blah 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 blah. I think Gary's missing the point. It's not so much that there's too much football for the players, it's that there's too much meaningless football. That's what's draining the players, and that's what the fans are not bothered about. So the fans are not bothered about international friendlies. Why would they be? I mean, the League Cup. Do any Premier League teams really take that seriously now? I know Man United have won it a couple of times of late and whatnot, but it's just a bit of a lacklustre tournament. Give it to the League Cup, the Championship teams. Let them fight out for that. And what's that other tournament? Did they still do that Confederations Cup and all of that? These are meaningless tournaments. So if you scrap them, then, there wouldn't necessarily be an issue. And all these daft World Cup qualifiers, there's too many World Cup qualifiers and Euros qualifiers and all of that. All of that needs to be streamlined. But in terms of the FIFA Club World Cup. That is now a legit, meaningful tournament that's going to be highly competitive because they're all going to be fighting to be the best in the world and to get that money. And why not? I mean, it's going to be an absolutely amazing tournament. You're going to have Real Madrid, you're going to have Man City, you're going to have probably going to have Barcelona, you're going to have a couple of English teams. I doubt United are going to be in there at this point, but it's just going to be an absolutely fantastic summer tournament. And with the added sort of inclusion of South American teams, you might even get Ronaldo's team, Al Nassr, or is it Al Hilal he plays for? I'm not sure. I think it's Al Nassr. You know, you're going to have all these teams from around the world, and also it's going to make the game a lot more global as well. Because as he says there, there's going to be teams in Brazil that don't have a lot of money, but if they did well in this tournament, it's going to be a huge cash injection. They're going to have a lot more spotlight on their club. Their brand's going to get bigger. They're going to make more money. They're going to be able to retain players and buy players and, you know, invest in the team, and then they'll become a big super club themselves. So it's going to be a stimulating tournament, both economically, football-wise, and entertainment-wise. So he's so down in the dumps, and you know, do you know what I mean? He's moaning because it's about the money and all of this. What's he on about? He charges £10 a pint in hotel football in Manchester, and the drink in there is crap. So I don't know what he's twining about the money. We should be celebrating this. To be quite frank, I'm really looking forward to it, even though Man United are not even in it. Who doesn't want to be world champions? You know, so yeah, the Big D really likes the thought of this FIFA Club World Cup tournament. And, you know, Sir Matt Busby said a long time ago when the English FA didn't want him to play in the inaugural European Cup, he said at the time, the continent is the future, and he was proven right. The Champions League right now is the biggest tournament in the world. And I think eventually, not straight away, but eventually, the FIFA Club World Cup tournament, especially if it's got the same amount of money that the European Cup has got, the Champions League has got, the FIFA Club World Cup tournament will probably eclipse the Champions League eventually. And the FIFA Club World Cup tournament will be like the World Cup to the Euros. You know, the Euros is still brilliant and excellent to watch and entertaining, but the World Club Cup will be better. I think. I mean, it just makes sense. What would you rather be, a European champion or a world champion? Anyway, what do you guys think? Do you agree with Gary's sentiment that, the FA Cup, all of this, too much money in the game, although here's a pint for a tenner? Or do you think it's an absolutely fantastic opportunity for clubs all around the world, and it's actually a meaningful tournament now? What do you think? Thoughts in the comments as ever, and the Big D will see you in the next one.